Alright, so today guys, continuing on from the previous example, we're still going to be calculating the correlation coefficient. This time we're just going to be doing it a little bit differently and we're going to add in one extra step. Okay, so as you can see at the top, we've got a new formula here that's got the sample covariance between x and y. Okay, as you guys can remember, that was the S subscript xy, that was our sample covariance. In the previous question, it was given to us. This time we're going to figure it out. Okay, so don't be scared off by this. All this formula is saying is that it's the sum of the x values take the mean, multiplied by the y values take the y mean. Okay, that's all that formula is saying, and we just divide it by the values take 1, and we can get our sample covariance. Okay, so copy this formula down, and I'm going to make a start on this worked example. Okay. For this, we've got use the formula to calculate the correlation coefficient of the following data. Okay, so we've got our x values, we've got our y values. As you can see here, this little x with the line, all that's saying is it's the mean. Okay, so we've just added all those numbers up, divided by 5. We've got our x mean and our y mean. Remember, our S subscript x and S subscript y is our standard deviation for x and standard deviation for y. Okay, hopefully you'll remember that from the previous video. Okay, we're going to go through and I'm going to first calculate the sample covariance. As you can see in this question, we're asked to calculate the correlation coefficient. I'm going to use that formula that we did use in the last video, but what you will know is we don't know the sample covariance. Previous question, it was given to us. This time we need to calculate it and then put it in the formula. The easiest way to calculate the sample covariance is by using this formula here. Okay, how do we do that? Well, we're going to break it down into sort of two parts. First bit is I'm going to figure out that top line and figure out the sum of it. Okay. How do I do that? I just draw up a table. Okay, so this table is nice and easy. It's very straightforward and mapped out for us. If we can just copy this one down. Okay, so we've got this table here. Looks a bit confusing to start with, but we're going to break it down. Okay, so to start with, I'm just going to enter in all my x values. Okay, all my x values, so I've got 1, 3, 5, 4, and 7. Okay, then I'm going to enter in my y values. Okay, remember, keep it in line. You're using your paper, so it can all be nice and neat for you. We've got 2, 5, 7, 2, and 9. Okay, so this is nice and easy. Now we can try to figure out the rest of the table. Okay, x take the x mean. Okay, we just figure out our x value is 1, subtract what is the mean of x is 4, so we just do 1, subtract 4. Okay, if you need to use a calculator, chuck it in your calculator. 1 take 4 is minus 3. Okay, now we're just going to do the same thing the whole way down. Our second x value is 3, so we're just going to do 3 subtract 4 gives us negative 1. 5 subtract 4 is 1. 4 subtract 4, we just chuck in 0. And lastly, 7 subtract 4 is 3. Okay, the one next thing I'm going to do is I've got my y values. I'm going to do the exact same thing, this time using y. The mean of y is 5, so I'm going to use 5 instead of 4. Okay, so 2 take 5 gives us minus 3. 5 take 5 gives us 0. 7 take 5, 2. 2 take 5 is minus 3. And lastly, 9 take 5 is 4. Okay, so let's just check our answers there, and we are all correct. So what we are going to do now is this last little column here. Okay, all it's asking us to do is, as you can see, we've figured out x take x mean, and we've figured out y take the mean of y. Okay, all we got to do now is multiply these two together to figure out our answer. First one, remember we're working across the table in our lines on your paper within your table. So we've got negative 3 multiplied by negative 3. How have we done that? We've just got our two different things that we're multiplying and we're using that line. Negative 3 by negative 3. Remember, if you get confused with negatives, chuck it in your calculator. Gives us 9. Negative 1 times 0, same thing. I'm just going down the line, is 0. 1 times 2, 2. 0 times negative 3, 0. And lastly, 3 times 4, 12. Okay, this is pretty much how we've got it. Now we just got to figure out the total sum of it. So what I do is I just write my sum, and I'm just going to do this down the bottom just so to keep it all nice and together. Okay, if I add all these values up, so -3 plus -1 plus 1 plus 3, chuck it in your calculator if you need, I get 0. Okay, don't worry about your x and y values, you don't need to add them up, that's part of the data. Okay, I'm going to do the same here with this column, so -3 plus 0 plus 2 plus -3 plus 4, it gives me 0. Okay, remember again, if you're confused, just chuck it in your calculator. This one here, this most important one, okay, this is where we're going to figure out this top line, and we need to make sure this one's right, okay? Really vital that we probably do put this one in our calculator. 9 plus 0 plus 2 plus 0 plus 12, I think we can all figure that one out, is 23. Okay, once I've got that, I have actually figured out the sum, so I can chuck it in the formula. Okay, so I'm going to just write a little therefore statement, and I'm just going to write therefore the sum, and that's what this little symbol here means that hopefully we're all familiar with. The sum of x take the mean of x multiplied by y take the mean of y equals 23. Okay, that's nice and easy. That's about the hardest part of this. The next part is we just simplify it down. Okay, I'm going to chuck it in the formula. Again, I'm going to write this formula down just to keep working through and showing my correct working. I've got the sample covariance, so I'm going to write it up here. The sample covariance is S subscript xy, hopefully you can remember that, and I'm going to write this out fully. Okay, is the sum of x take the mean of x, y take the mean of y. Okay, then I just do that, n take 1, and get our line. Okay, this one is a little bit messy. What we're going to do now is just sub in our values. Okay, what we've done down here is we've figured out the sum. What I can do now is I can just enter this 23. Okay, this is the main bit that some of us might get a little bit confused with, and I'm just going to try and write that up a little bit neater. 23. So again, if we're a bit confused with how that's happened, all we've done is we've done our table, we've figured out the sum, got our answer, substituted it in. Okay, like many of you, I know you really like writing the knowns down on the side, as I said in the previous video. If you want, just write these down again, okay? That was going to help us in the future, but now we're just going to finish figuring this one out. So n take 1. What is n? That is the number of values we got. So if we look at the chart, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I get 5 take 1. And when I put that in, I get 23 over 4. Or I can just write that as 5.75. Okay? This is pretty much it now. We've got the same as the last video. We know our sample covariance is 5.75. We know our standard deviation of x is 2.236. And we know our standard deviation of y is 3.082. Okay, I'm going to chuck that in the formula that we used in the last video, and I'm just going to get an answer. If you struggle with the following bit that I'm about to do, go back and watch the last video. If not, let's go through and get the answer for this one. Okay, so remember, this was my formula. Like that. Okay, this was my formula. It was saying the sample covariance divided by the standard deviation of x multiplied by the standard deviation of y. Okay, I'm going to put that in my, substitute all of it in. Remember, write your knowns if you need. If not, it's all our information's here. We've got our standard, our sample covariance here, standard deviations over here. So I'm going to write 5.75 divided by 2.236 multiplied by, and remember, if you want to do multiplied or brackets, either way is fine, 3.082. Let's finish that one out. Okay, once I've done that, I can put it into my calculator. Remember, if you want to break it down another step, that's fine. If not, just chuck that into your calculator, and I end up with 0.83, and that is to 2 decimal place. Okay, so that is my final answer. If you have any trouble with that, come and see either one of us. And remember, that 0.83, link it back to that table that we saw in the last one. That would be a strong positive. Okay, that's the most important thing there. Any troubles, come see us. If not, this should be able to take you through exercise 1E. If you need any help, just come and see us. Thank you.